The reason you're struggling to get other people to listen to you when you talk about capitalism and colonialism is you have not yet actually accepted the reality of the situation. You're fighting it. You want them to hear you because you're right, and you are, and it would be a really nice reality to live in if people would just listen to you when you're right about your political analysis, but that's not the reality that we live in. The reality we live in is one where people are so scared and traumatized by the very systems that we are trying to explain to them, which should be obvious to us, but I guess it's not. We're frustrated, and that's fine. They're so scared and traumatized that they require careful, delicate, compassionate, non-judgmental communication in order to actually hear you. And the core of that type of communication is actually not talking at them, it's listening.
First off, I recently discovered Dr. Hillary Agro on Instagram, and I've really been enjoying her videos. I feel like we align on a lot of our messaging and philosophy. She's a little bit gentler than I am, but I really appreciate what she has to say. And this point in particular is something that I've been trying to talk about for a long time, and especially when I talked about it in 2025. I think a lot of people who were opposed to MAGA, a lot of people who were deeply frustrated and still very much in the like fuck around and find out mentality, were just too angry, right? We were all too angry at what was happening to our country to be able to process this message. And I'm hoping now, in the second half of 2026, that maybe we're all ready to embrace it and understand it and live it out. I am not in any way casting aspersions on folks who are rightly angry. But as I said in a video a couple of weeks ago, I think it's important for us to understand how we channel that anger in order to be most effective. Do we just want to be mad? Do we just want to get our angry feelings out? Do we just want to vent our rage? Or do we want to stop this madness and build a society where we have human rights, where we have constitutional rights, where we create an America where working class people are not exploited, but rather where our tax dollars and our government provide for all of our needs and provide a good quality of life for all of us. Like, what's our goal here, guys? Eyes on the prize, right? We want to win. We don't just want to be real big mad. And as the parent of 4 kids, 3 of whom are now adults, which is crazy. I can't believe how quickly that happened. When my kids were little, I would always try and emphasize how important it was for them to feel their feelings, name their feelings, and then release those emotions. Do you need to give me a big squeezy hug in order to get your anger out? Do you need to punch a pillow? Do you need to go run around in the backyard? Do you need to scream at something? Like, what do you need to do to release those emotions in a way that doesn't hurt other people and doesn't sabotage, undermine, cause damage to your relationships with other folks? How is it that we can release our emotions in a way that we don't regret later, right? I still struggle with this. I think everybody struggles with this to an extent. But for a lot of us in 2025, there was all of this, gosh, you guys, it's not even over, right? I think I said this in a members only video, but like I took TikTok off my phone for 11 days while I was out of the country. And when I got back and I put it back on, just seeing how performatively mean the videos and comments were.
Don't let that TikTok snarkiness get you caught up in real life. All that hope this helps. Don't do that in real life. Don't get caught up. For whatever reason, like on social media, people are really comfortable because of the perceived distance between these phones. People are very comfortable talking crazy to you, being disrespectful, being dismissive, being condescending.
You guys are so fucking annoying with your moral high grounds because you actually don't want anybody to learn. You just want to be mad at these people. You just want to be mad. You just want to be mad at somebody.
People are angry, and I think there is a lot of normalization in the United States. I mean, of course there is. We raise our children with authoritarian, punitive parenting. There's a lot of indoctrination for all of us, and like, I am hurt, so I need to make somebody else hurt. You have to suffer for the pain that you inflicted on me. I have to get retribution, right? I have to hurt you. I'm really mad and I'm angry and I'm so my feelings cause me so much distress that I want to hurt you in an attempt to alleviate my distress. That's very normal. It's very maladaptive, but what I mean is it's very normalized in the United States for us to operate that way. So when I get online and I see how freaking mean people are in a way that makes me like pause and say, what is your end goal here? What are you hoping for, right? I'm always trying to ask folks like, what outcome are you looking for? What are you hoping will happen next? What do you want the consequences of your actions to be? I think for a lot of folks, in 2025, there was a lot of wanting to scream at MAGA and want them to hurt as much as we hurt. And even people who are deconstructing for MAGA, or even people who are saying, hey guys, not everybody who voted for Donald Trump is in the cult. Not everybody who voted for Donald Trump had like racism as their primary motivation. Like some of them did, but not everybody. And instead of presuming why people voted for Donald Trump, maybe we should go listen to them. And that is a role that I think, right, those who are the most harmed by the regime should not be undertaking. Those who are the most marginalized, like it's not on the shoulders of Black Americans, it's not on the shoulders of Indigenous Americans, it's not on the shoulders of trans folks to go and do that work. It's on the shoulders, I think, of white folks who have relatives, folks in our communities who voted for Donald Trump, to sit and listen. Why is it that 70 plus million Americans found him appealing enough to vote for him, or found the messaging of Republicans convincing enough? What is the lived experience of all of the folks who voted for Donald Trump? Because if you just scream at them and rage at them, you just say like, you're a fucking racist, and you did this because you're racist, like, okay, that may feel good in the moment, but how is it helping get us out of this? What is your goal? What do you want to happen next? Because I know what I want to happen next. I want the restoration of democracy, and I want radical reforms in this country so that we have human rights for everybody, so that we have the restoration and expansion of the Voting Rights Act. We get the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and we just like crank it up, right? We make sure that we get protections for women voters. We get protections for reproductive health care. We get an end to the ethnic cleansing in the United States. We get the restoration of the rule of law, the expansion of the Supreme Court. We tax billionaires out of existence. We get health care for all. Like, I have lots of shit that I want to get done. I have lots of shit that we as a country should be getting done, right? Like we all have goals and policies and actions and reforms that we need to, under justice, that we need to carry out in the time to come. And we can't get distracted by just being really mad. We have to have a careful plan. I'm all about strategy and tactics, right? Being really intentional in the way that we're moving and acting. And I think a lot of us have spent the last year, no judgment if that's you, venting our feelings because we thought that it would make us feel better. And ultimately, it maybe has harmed us a little bit, but I think that there's plenty of time to course correct. And it's not just, right, like anti-capitalists yelling at people, like coming, I want to tell you, maybe not even yelling, right, but like, I want to inform you, I want to educate you, I want to teach you about all the ways that your belief in this current system, in Donald Trump and MAGA, in the capitalists, your adoration of billionaires, how that's all really fucked up and it's actually hurting you. I found preaching and pontificating, despite the fact that I do it on social media a little bit for a living, in one-on-one relationships with people in the real world, it doesn't work very well. What works well is listening to people's lived experience. Instead of presuming what their motivation is, instead of presuming what their lived experience is, sit and listen. People want to be heard. Overwhelmingly, people just want to be heard. And I actually think that's a lot of why Donald Trump was successful, because he did listen. He listened to their lived experience, and then he crafted a bunch of lies to seduce them based on that. Right? He made a bunch of phony promises he was never going to fulfill, but make America great again, that was this nebulous phrase that people could imbue with whatever meaning that they needed to imbue it with in order to support him. So why don't we ask them, what does that mean for you? What would greatness look like for you? What is it that you were hoping for when you voted for Donald Trump? Can you tell me a little bit about what your expectation was for the United States? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What are the ways that you're struggling? And what would a better America look like to you? Can you just tell me about what life is like for you in the US? Is it better than it was in 2024? Is it worse? What about before Donald Trump got elected the first time? Like, can you just talk to me a little bit about what it's like for you as an American, your experience? Boy, that's really hard. It's really hard to decide to listen compassionately, empathetically to people who voted for fascism. It's really difficult. I'm not saying that it's not a real sacrifice to be willing to do that. But that, I think, is one of the key important ways that we help get ourselves out of this and we reform our society. People need to leave MAGA. People need to look at the policies. Working class people need to learn to embrace the policies that will actually make their lives better, and the candidates who can deliver on those promises and craft those policies and get them enacted into law. And screaming at MAGA is not going to do it. Screaming at regular Trump voters who weren't in the cult isn't going to do it. Presuming that we know their motivations and we know their lived experience is not going to do it. But listening, in permaculture we say observe and interact. Before you can interact, you have to observe. That means we have to listen. We have to sit and patiently, non-judgmentally listen. So what would it look like for you to take that on?